We helped a men's apparel brand generate over $620,000 from email alone last year. And when we added SMS on top, we totaled 30% of their total revenue from two channels that most brands tend to treat as an afterthought. We didn't have to blow up their ad spend or deal with high CAC. We didn't even redesign their website, and we didn't launch that many new products. And if you're sitting there, maybe perhaps sending 1 or 2 campaigns a week and wondering why email isn't really moving the needle for your brand, this is exactly what you need to hear. What I'm particularly excited to show is also how you can leverage SMS on top of email to increase the amount of revenue that you can generate from your retention channel. But just for a bit of context, why you can trust me, I'm going to refresh this Klaviyo dashboard of the brand that I'm talking about. And you can see exactly here that we have $622,000. It's around 23.82% coming from email alone. And overall, the business did about $2.6 million last year. Right now, if you are an e-commerce brand and looking to scale past $10 million a year, we're currently giving free retention audits. What this audit will do is it will highlight big ROI opportunities in your retention marketing system. We'll take a look at your ESP. We'll take a look at your SMS marketing. We will give you an action plan that you can go away and implement yourself, or you can work with us to do it for you. The link to book that audit is in the description below, or you can head over to the website hazemedia.co and book a time to chat there, and I'll see you on the call. Like I mentioned, we manage everything for this brand. We did flows, campaigns, pop-up, segmentation, and our whole focus is turning email into a brand's most profitable channel. And I'm going to break down exactly what we did for this brand step by step. You can take this and apply it to yours. But here's what I really want to show you. There's one change that we made that doubled their welcome flow revenue practically overnight, and it had nothing to do with email copy, nothing to do with design, and it's almost something that nobody is paying attention to. Before I show you that one change we made, let me give you a bit of context about this brand. You can understand more about why I'm going to show you today. This is a men's niche apparel brand. They're doing about $2.5 million a year, and they get decent traffic to their website. They had some email stuff set up, but it was kind of just sitting there. When most people look at a situation like this, they tend to immediately go to the obvious stuff. For example, you need A/B test better subject lines, right? You need better subject lines. Maybe they say you need to completely redo and redesign your templates, or they look at the flows and they say you need more emails inside your flows. And look, none of that is wrong at all necessarily, but that's what everyone does. And in my opinion, that is quite service level. Yes, we did set up all the core flows. We had the welcome series, the cart abandonment, the checkout abandonment, post-purchase cross-sells, and a high intent flow. That's table stakes. Every brand should have those running. So here you can see exact foundation of what we had. One flow that you guys might not know about, and I do have a video on my channel about this, is the high intent flow. This flow is a simple plain text, 1 or 2 emails, which targets those that are browsing on the website and actively opening and clicking your emails. This sits in the abandonment series alongside your browse, cart, and checkout, but it targets them differently than these 3. And it's definitely a flow that if you don't have, you should implement today, because it tends to perform sometimes better, or if not as good as, your welcome series flow. And we do have a video on my channel. I believe the title is called "Most People Don't Have This Flow," or "This is a flow that you haven't got," or something around those lines. Please click that video and you'll be able to see exactly the strategy behind that flow. Aside from flows, we also built a proper campaign strategy. We're sending a minimum of 3 campaigns a week. Prospects get 3 a week. Then existing customers will get 2 to 3 a week, and VIPs get 1 or 2. And we do a mix of entertaining, educational, and sales content, where we're averaging, you can see here the proof is averaging around 62.5% open rates across the board. We're priming our 3 different important segments to open and click our emails. The main thing here that you're not going to touch on today is the reason why we split these out, the segments, and also the content. And we have plenty of videos talking about the 80-20 strategy that we run on our campaigns. We also have a post-purchase, complete post-purchase tutorial as well, which dives deeper into segments and why you should be splitting out your segments into these 3 main buckets for your campaigns and sending them different content with different objectives. Prospects is educational content, it's product introductions, customer, and obviously promotions and discounts when we have sales running. Customers is the same. We will have promotions and discounts specifically for customers as well that is different from our prospects, because usually they need less discounting, but they maybe need some kind of deal sweetener that happens once a month as well. But aside from that, when we're not running sales, it'll be new arrivals, restocks, and loyalty rewards, as well as founders letters, mission statements, and reminders of the community, and also maybe some highlights of some of our customers as well, like customer reviews as well that we wanted to feature. VIPs is, we genuinely tend to treat this segment like they are VIP. They get early access or exclusive access to sales, to new products. Sometimes they'll even get like products exclusively for them that you can't buy anywhere else, as well as personalized offers. Like I mentioned with customers, we also have specific offers that go out to VIPs saying like, hey, because you are a VIP, you get this special offer before anyone else, or sometimes it's exclusively for you. We really don't sell much to this segment at all. We will just talk to them as if they've been, a part of our brand since the beginning, since we started, and we treat them like a friend. But here's the thing, all of this is execution, and it's important, but it's not the unlock. It's not the aha moment. While we're doing all of this and the numbers were solid, there was still a ceiling, and the ceiling wasn't in the emails themselves. The real unlock, it was in who was getting the emails, specifically how many people were entering the top of our email funnel every single day. And we looked at the sign-up rate form, and it was just a standard small pop-up inside things like Postscript, right? We use Postscript for SMS and pop-ups for this brand. It was nothing special. It was converting at about 2.6%. For a brand getting good traffic, that's a lot of people just leaving without ever entering the ecosystem. We made one big change. We switched from Postscript over to Elia for their pop-up, and we went from a small pop-up to a full screen takeover, popping up full screen. However, it wasn't just about going full screen. That alone won't do much. What really moved the needle was aggressively testing different angles and messaging, testing things like 15% off to you've got 15% off. Small little reframes that completely changed the psychology. We also tested delay timers versus smart triggers. They have their own AI trigger software. We could test different smart triggers versus delay timers. And we also tested different value propositions, because this brand gets solid traffic. We could iterate really fast, all right? We had enough volume to get clear data quickly and make decisions. The result, we actually doubled their sign-up rate throughout the year. We went from 2.7 starting off, small pop-up widget, Postscript platform, generic messaging, to finally going to 5.34% with a full screen takeover, with a Elia platform, aggressive angle testing. And this was around the same impressions. We're having the same amount of people viewing the pop-up. Now, think about what that means downstream. We doubled the number of people entering the welcome flow every single day, and that means welcome flow revenue effectively doubled quite literally overnight or over the course of a few months. Like, it happened very quickly. And we're now generating $8,500 a month just from the welcome flow alone. And we're not done. We're expecting to push that sign up rate close to 10%. And we're already hitting 11% with some of our other clients. So let me bring this all together, because there's a clear logic to how this all compounds. All right. Step one, we built the foundation, all the core flows set up properly and optimized, welcome, browse, cart, checkout, post-purchase, cross-sales as well for all of their products. These are where your automated revenue machines begin, and they work while you sleep. So this came to 42% here of our email revenue. We had around over $262,000 come from flows. Step two is what I just talked about, is where we built a real campaign strategy with 3 sends a minimum a week, segmented by prospects, customers, and VIPs, with a mix of content types that people actually want to open and click. That's where 50% of our email revenue comes from, over $359,000 from campaigns alone last year into 2025. Step three, And this is why most people skip, or most people think it's inflated, right? Is we fix the top of funnel. And by inflated, I mean these numbers, it's not all about sign-up rates. And that's why it's important to not just focus on your sign-up rate, but also make sure that you're getting the same amount of people viewing the pop-up as previous, right? Because sometimes these companies and different pop-up softwares, they can inflate the sign-up rate, but then actually your conversion rate reduces because you're not actually showing it to as many people. In this case, we actually doubled the sign-up rate, but also at the same time, we're targeting a 10% conversion on all of those people that are signing up. We didn't see a dip. We actually saw an increase. And I think this is where most people slip up, is they don't focus enough on the pop-up and pop-up testing throughout the years. You can see how I've showed you that step 3 multiplies the value of everything that we did in steps 1 and 2, right? That's the compounding effect. And you can't just do one of these things in isolation. You can see a little bit of a revenue breakdown, 359,000 from campaigns, 262 with a 62.5% open average rate. To bring it full circle and talk a little bit about the compounding loop, a men's apparel brand doing $2.5 million a year is now generating 38% of their total revenue from email and SMS. That's over $620,000 from email, a channel that most brands underinvest in. The framework is very simple. You have increase your site. Well, first of all, build the flows, right? Run consistent segmented campaigns, and then multiply everything by having more signups and more people coming down through the top of the funnel. Test aggressively and let the data tell you what works, and let the system compound over time. And you can see the results speak for themselves. 30% of total revenue. We have SMS here, $337,000 coming, over $337,000 coming from SMS, which is nearly half of our email, which again is incredible. Automations were 245,000, campaigns 92. And email came to 621,000 Klaviyo attributed. And total came to around 38% of total revenue from attributed to email and SMS. The average open rate is far exceeding industry benchmarks. Sign-up rate doubled. The last 30 days is around over $8,000. Again, this is predictable revenue coming from new subscribers. And if you compound all of this, this is where, you have a system that is just going to constantly compound over time. And this is really it. These are the super important metrics that I wanted to highlight you guys. Now, if you're running an e-commerce brand and your email list isn't pulling its weight, this is exactly the kind of thing we do for your clients. And now I know I said at the beginning of the video, there's a test that we did on Welcome series that literally changed our revenue overnight, and that was switching out email 1 with plain text versus designs. Go ahead and test that on your first email on your Welcome series. If you're not already doing plain text and you have a nice, beautiful design, try converting that into a plain text and see the results come in. And if you're an e-commerce brand and your email isn't pulling its weight, this is exactly the thing we do for our clients. If you want us to take a look at your setup and show you where the gaps are, there's a link in the description to book that free audit, book that call. Otherwise, subscribe, because I'm going to keep breaking down exactly what's working right now in email marketing for e-commerce brands. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.